Okay, so today maybe we'll touch on some ideas for kicking, and you will see ideas based on the knee kick, the knee rise, where it goes and how it can be used to camouflage other kicks. You will be working maybe on front kick, maybe on roundhouse kick or roundhouse kick, depending on how that knee rise works. And the difference between sport kicking versus what you find in Goju kata, which might bring in a few limitations. And then I will mention krescent geri, but I think it belongs in a more advanced bit of video, so that we can learn it a little bit later once the body has developed a little bit. Okay, so these are some ideas on how we're going to cover kicking today. The first kick that we're working on, knee kick. The next kick we're working on, stomp kick. So wherever I'm training, if the floor allows for it, and I'm not going to break the floor or break my body, slowly, a few times, a few repetitions. When I land, I'm trying not to land onto my heel, but like a soldier marching, I'm landing flat foot. Okay? Next thing, the kick itself, forward kick. Then kicking with the heel, back kick. Okay, so something else to consider when you're practicing front kicks, that you essentially are practicing at least 4 kicks. I'm practicing the knee kick, front kick, heel kick, and a stomp kick. Knee kick, front kick, heel kick, stomp kick. Next thing, if I adjust the weapon at the end, it goes in most basic, forward. If I turn my foot and now kick with this part of the foot, I then have a slightly different kick. And now I'm kind of broaching the area between a front kick with the ball of the foot and the local person kicking down a door or attempting to kick down a door with the whole of the foot, or to push somebody over, and the idea is attacking a joint, like the hip joint, or like the knee, and forcing the body to buckle. Alright, if you want to see the master at teaching this, please watch Sensei Paul Enfield. He shows us in a number of places in a lot of different kata, and it is essentially the variation of front kick. Alright, next idea. Changing the angle of the foot, kicking inside, out. My friends who do Shotokan generically call this Mikazuki geri, the big moon, little moon kick. Alright, and again you'll see now I'm kicking with the ball of the foot, I'm turning my body, bringing it around. Not a kick very common and commonly associated with Goju Ryu, but much more Okinawan in its origins, and very useful, especially if you're avoiding something, deflecting and kicking into the oncoming attacker. And for those people who do Nai Funchin or Nai Hanchi kata, this is possibly an explanation for the opening crossover and kick movement at the beginning of the kata. Okay, so those are the kicks that most people will need to do. What we should be doing as Goju practitioners, the next kick we should be teaching is krescent geri. Alright? But because of television, sports karate, the next thing that everybody wants to learn how to do is roundhouse kick. Now, I come from a family of soccer players, footballers, and the idea of a ball bouncing and you kicking the ball into the back of the net, volleying the ball, that applies to how the mentality of a roundhouse kick works in something simple like knees. You're standing and you're kicking right through the knee. Sport karate has made the roundhouse kick the creme de la creme of techniques because a kick to the head results in a high scoring reward. Alright, so you then see Jordan mawashi becoming very, very popular. Obviously, in combat, you kick somebody in the face and they haven't seen where it's come from. Psychologically, it's a big shock. The next thing about it is that there is the more traditional, classical way of kicking with the ball of the foot, and then there's that more sporty kind of idea of kicking with the top of the foot instead. Alright? So, when we teach roundhouse kick, always teach the front leg version first, which is more of a flicking kick, similar to a jab. So, take the jab in sport karate, look at how it can only be executed essentially to the face to score a point, and that is because it doesn't have the full mechanical body power of the reverse punch that will score either to the face or to the body. But it is quick and light. And the same thing applies to how we teach that front foot kick. I'm just going to move a little bit back and then come a little bit forward. There's a punch bag in the way. So the first thing we kind of teach is stepping up like a ballerina, always keeping one's guard up. You'll notice that I have some semblance of a front hand and I have a ready back hand. So we teach like ballet to step across the legs and already put the foot in position. Rock back, lift, extend, put down, return the foot to its original position and turn the angle of the foot. So I can drive, I can also step up, one and two. And then obviously playing with height. And that helps us with the front foot roundhouse kick, which for sport karate is an essential tool. Obviously then, if we are standing or using back leg mawashi geri, then we start looking at the problem of the distance it needs to cover as you're moving forward. The idea that you're going to lift up, your groin is going to be exposed. So why don't you see too many of them being used in real fights? Anybody who can block and hit and kick to the groin, that's it. The fight's over. I'd rather kick low and hit high, personally, in a self-defense situation. But in terms of the games of karate, Ippon Kumite, Sambon, or Sambon Ippon Kumite, where you score 3 points, or WKF Kumite, you'd want to have these skills. And so you would start. Some people would like to prepare the pivot first. It's kind of telegraphing your opponent. Alright, some people say in the motion. And you'll notice that at the moment I'm kicking from floor up. Okay? And this would be very much in line with the classical way of viewing the kick and trying to get and generate that speed and power from the ground. Alright. Very, very famous karate man discussed the idea of line and angle in his book Winning Karate. Sir Tiki Donovan, probably one of the best coaches the world had seen. And in view of the idea of a line, and in terms of my opponent countering me, you will find that kicking roundhouse kick in this nature is really, really difficult. So you find that a lot of people start threading the kick through this position. Hold on, that was the first kick I think, remember? Knee kick. So, bringing the leg up, then as I rotate my leg, I want to rotate my foot, kick, and back. So you don't know if it's a front kick, or a roundhouse kick, or a reverse kick. That is the whole secret to good fighting and good kumite, is having a variety of techniques that look the same at the beginning, so your opponent cannot pick the technique and that you can try and score with it, and then to polish it. Okay, never ever underestimate the level of polish that a sports karateka puts into their ability to develop 1 or 2 kicks and to have 3 or 4 varieties on those kicks. So the next thing is obviously the roundhouse kick, and we've seen classical execution and the more modern execution. And then the variations. Low, high. Alright? These kicks have essentially become the bedrock of sport karate. And in most Goju schools, people will want to be able to do roundhouse kick. Personal opinion, look at kata. Learn how to do front kick properly. You'll have a couple of varieties of kick. Learn how to twist it. You've got Mikazuki geri ready. Learn to kick low kicks, thighs and knees. Alright? Low roundhouse kicks and joint kick. Kata geri. Kata geri is the next most common kick in our kata, if not the most important kick that we see in Goju kata at the top end of the spectrum. Alright, we do have a crescent kick and we do have a jump kick. We don't have a lot of kicks. We don't have a lot of fancy kicks. Alright, these kicks have been developed over time as people have discovered flaws in combat and have tried to answer it. And when you have people who have an ability to kick better than they have an ability to punch. Alright, the rare occasion that somebody thinks with their feet rather than with their hands, it's an anomaly. They're anomalies. They're not normal people. Okay, a lot of people have to train the kicks extremely hard. These people have to train the punches to get them good enough and strong enough. But they can kick from anywhere, and if there's a problem, you usually see them lifting their leg and trying to kick someone. Alright, so kicking. Yellow, orange belt, front kick, knee kick, stomp kick. Alright, a little bit on the axe kick, which will develop later over time. Roundhouse kick, little children, front foot roundhouse kick. Older kids who've got better balance and more core strength, more control, maybe back foot roundhouse kick, and then we move on. Okay, so basic idea for some of the videos. If you want to really understand side kick, back kick and spinning back kick. There are Goju people who are good at it, but I'm going to be honest. I stole my ideas from other schools of karate because they were better at it than we were. In some places it occurs in their syllabus a lot sooner. In some places it is part of their kata, so that's always being trained. You know, a big fancy jump, spin, land that you see people do in unsu, well, that's a back kick, according to a lot of people. You know, take that from where it comes from. If it doesn't come from our school, you might have to steal from some other people, and then you need to go and analyze how they do it. And that'll allow you to develop a better kick. In kumite, in randori, in fighting, if you stick to the rules, if there are rules, then anything goes. That's within those rules is fine. That's my humble opinion. In terms of developing your basics, you will have to develop them on their own. The thing that you get sent home with all the time is the kata and a bit of basics. And if you can develop those things, great. For now, something for you to think about. Okay, hinging, kiage, extending, kikomi. Food for thought. Arigato gozaimasu.